pregnant, and alone? You have options. The Sanctuary of Hope offers expectant mothers ages 12 to 22 a place to live, medical care, counseling, continued education, and options to raise your baby in a loving environment or help you with adoption. We want to help provide you and your baby with a bright future. Call us or email us today and let's walk through this together. 210-499-1554 or sohcares.org. All inquiries are confidential.
The Dear Agency specializes in helping you understand your coverage before you need it. We offer all lines of personal and commercial insurance, including auto, home, and life. Contact Dawn Deere at 210-507-2169 and visit us at 7529 North Loop 1604 in Live Oak, Texas, or farmersagent.com/ddeer.
You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again, and man, we have a bonus show. Y'all know what it is. And just breaking news, if y'all didn't find out yet, on the radio station portion, man, if you want to catch us now, guess what? You can catch us 9:30 a.m. The Answer, Sunday and Saturday. Yeah, that's new. Saturday now, you can hear us in our interviews at 8:30 p.m. and on Sundays, same time, 6 in the morning. So, man, today we have a bonus show, though. So I'm on the 12th floor recording this show, and we have a special guest. His name is David Glasco. He is all-time rushing touchdown leader at UTSA. So guess what? Runners, beep, beep. And, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's doing big things, man. And he is an author of 4 books. We're going to get to that. And he's also a business owner of a barbershop and beauty salon. So we're going to be talking about all the craziness that's going on with the COVID-19, how he's dealing with it as an entrepreneur. But without further ado, I want to welcome David to the show and say, how you doing?
I'm great, man. Thank you for having me. I really, really, really do appreciate it.
Yes, sir, man. So before we get into the stuff that you're doing today with business and your books and stuff, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, David Glasco, like you said, born and raised here in San Antonio. I grew up primarily on the east side of town. I went to Wagner High School. Played football at Wagner and was fortunate enough to get a full ride scholarship to University of Texas at San Antonio, coached by Coach Coker. I was part of the very first football team of UTSA, actually, which makes me feel like a fossil. But after my football playing days were over, I decided to follow my dream of what it was since I was a kid. And that was go to law school. I graduated law school in May of last year, May 2019, and now I'm currently awaiting my bar exam results. And in between that time, that's when I authored 4 books. I opened up my Barbershop Beauty Salon at the age of 24. So yeah, and now I'm here. Still got a lot more stuff to accomplish.
Man, so you've been doing entrepreneurship since you like a kid, like you still a kid, and
yeah. Well, I'm trying, man. You know,
yeah.
There's so many things that I want to poke my nose into. I'm just a curious person by nature, so there's a lot more things I have on my plate that I want to swallow up. But yeah, this was something as soon as I pretty much graduated college, I just been on go mode since then, trying to get my hand in many different things.
So law was something that piqued your interest. At what age did you say, you know what, this stuff is interesting?
I would say 7.
Wow.
But it's something that I've always wanted to do when I was a real little kid. Like, It was just something, the way I see it is that if you're going to do a business or you're going to have a career, I should say, I believe, like I said, choosing a career, choose something you're passionate about. And I've always been very passionate about helping people. That's where I get my satisfaction, my self-satisfaction, and everything. So I decided from a young age, if I'm going to help somebody, I think a lawyer would be a very efficient way in helping people who can't speak for themselves. And so that thus begun my dream. And now, like I said, waiting for these bar results so we can make the dream a reality.
And when you found that out at a young age, so were there some people that inspired you and influenced you walking that path of having that throughout your head? Because, I mean, not everybody gets to have that kind of dream like you and into playing, football. I mean, how does that work?
Yeah. Well, it's a couple things. I think the book To Kill a Mockingbird, of course, I know like that was required reading for a lot of kids here in San Antonio. It was for us, but I believe we read that, I want to say 7th or 9th grade. And that was kind of like Atticus Finch's character, that was kind of like the doubling down point once I read that book and I saw a perspective of a criminal defense attorney, and I was like, man, that's wild. That's just, to see him acting out and doing things and possibly saving a life, even because, nothing's guaranteed, but just putting his best foot forward to do something like that. Huge inspiration. Malcolm X originally, I'm like the biggest Malcolm X fan in the world. He originally wanted to be an attorney, but was told otherwise. If you read his autobiography or watch the movie, you can see that a teacher basically told him, "You're black, so don't go that route." But Malcolm X definitely, Atticus Finch definitely. I mean, it's a bunch of stuff. I mean. The main thing that I always want to make sure that never happened to me was I get stereotyped and put into a box, the whole dumb jock athlete guy. He's not smart. He's stereotype. I always wanted to beat that and rise above that. So, I think it's like you said, it's not very common that you see somebody who is a football player go on to do something in my field. But I mean, it's not a common field at all. Less than 1% of the population, I believe it is, go to law school. And, I think only 5% of lawyers are black. So, I'm in company that I'm very, very happy to be with. I'm part of a fraternity that I think that as time goes on, I'm going to look back and be very, very proud of the accomplishments at this date.
Once again, we're talking to David Glasco, and he was doing law school since he was in diapers. But the crazy thing, man, I ain't jealous, man, but the crazy thing is, like, that mindset at such a young age, that sets the tone for your future and what you're doing, what you've been doing so far. So when you speed up a little bit, because there's a lot of stuff I want to talk about later, but when you speed up to college, you're playing football. Is this still, is this still marinating in your mind, or was this all planned out? Like you said, I'm gonna do this, and I'm also gonna be doing this. I'm gonna plan to do this too.
Yeah. Well, I'm a Virgo, and I don't know if you into astrology and all that, but one of the things that I hate is when stuff isn't. I don't have stuff mapped out. Like if I have my day mapped out or anything, if I have a plan, I like sticking to it, and like one little wrinkle can it gets me off track. I hate it. I hate surprises when it comes to that. So, I mean, it was the same way, even when I was playing football, if I was blessed enough to play professionally, because I did try. I tried my hand at my pro day. I didn't get a call back from a professional team. I thought about trying overseas, possibly Canadian League, but then I remember I was just sitting down one day at a restaurant, and I called my dad, and I was just like, nah, I'm not feeling this no more. I'm ready to go to law school. Wow. And so, even then, that always, law school has always, being a lawyer, that's always been my thought. And I even had some teammates tell me I was crazy for thinking that way, but I mean.
What are they doing, though? I'm joking. You don't have to answer that. Yeah, nah. But it's good to have that focus because, I mean, somebody, whether it's your mom, your dad, your uncle, your grandma, somebody had to influence you. So growing up, who was the person that had your attention as far as someone you looked up to?
Oh, it definitely had to be. I'll have to say my dad, mostly. I love my dad and my mom both equally, of course, and all my family members. But, my dad was a very important figure in my life. He didn't play around. He established discipline early on. So I believe that's where I got my discipline from. That's where I got my work ethic. And he was the main voice in my life, basically telling me, if you want something, you can get it. You just got to work. And so ever since then, I've just taken that mentality in everything I do. I might not be the most talented at things that I do or when I first start out, but my whole mindset is that eventually I'm going to master this because I'm not going to give up. I'm about to be persistent with it. And so I think a lot of that is in part to my dad.
And when it comes to the books that you have already published, I mean, man, come on, man, you're not even 30, you already got books published, man. Like, man, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know there's youngins out there like that who publish books or whatever, but I'm just saying that's pretty awesome that you're not just one, not two, not three, but four. So right. Let's talk about these books, man. Like, what was your mindset before you started writing? And take us through that process. Like, did you learn from somebody? Did someone take you underneath their wing? Like, how did that work?
No, it's that was more so. It's, you know what? That's a question I get a lot, and it's hard to answer because that was really just a random, off the top occurrence. Like, I remember my first story. My first book was called Exile. It was a collection of short stories, and when I was writing that, The Golden Rule was the first short story I wrote. And when I wrote it, I just sent it to a friend because I'll be honest, I didn't know what I was doing at that time. I was just like, I got these thoughts in my head. This stuff randomly pops in my head. Because I still do it to this day. My writing style is I'm watching TV, and I'll think, oh, what if this happened instead of that? And then I write it down in my notes on my phone, and then I revisit it whenever I feel like writing, and I'll make a story. Mm-hmm. And so The Golden Rule was a story. I sent it to my best friend, Dieter Cantu. He read it, and he was like, who wrote this? And I was like, me. And then he was just like, he thought I was joking. He was like, no. He's like, dude, this is like real good. He's like, you ain't write that. I was like, yeah, I did. And I was like, I'll tell you something crazy. I wrote it in one day. Wow. And so after he told me that gave me that confidence. I was like, you know what? I can do something different. You know, I think it's important as a black man. I keep seeing, not knocking anybody who goes this route, but you see a bunch of guys who are selling mixtapes, trying to become rappers and all that. I was like, man, I can become an author. If I think I'm talented at it, why not? And it's just something that it's really more so something that I just love and enjoy. And that's really the process of how it all started.
Yeah, not to crack jokes, but you usually see people talk more about that with mixtapes than writing books.
Exactly.
I mean, it's more about lyrics.
I wanted to change the narrative up a little bit. So, yeah, here I am.
And that's a unique approach that you say you will be watching a movie or a TV show and just be like, yo, I'm going to write these notes because what if the director or producer made it this way versus that way? What kind of TV shows were you into? Were you into like specific types of shows, or what, just like anything you saw on TV you just start writing?
It could be anything, man. It can go from me watching Godfather 2 to thinking, man, what if Michael didn't go to Italy when he had to go on the run, or what if Vito would have survived? You know, I could be watching Family Guy and see one of those crazy shorts and think of something wild. And I've gotten a story inspiration from a Weekend music video. Like it's literally anything. I can't explain. Like my brain's just all over the place. When I see something, it just starts racing, and I'm like, oh, this will be a good idea. And then there's a note, revisit it whenever I get in my writing mode, and there we go.
So sports, reading, writing, anything else that kind of goes into your vibe as far as like how you like put things together, you know, because sometimes when you always working, you always got to find a way to have a hobby or something that just keep you calm. Were you in other hobbies too, like music or anything, or was it mainly the sports world and writing for you?
Yeah, no, I have a lot, man. I think it could be deemed somewhat odd, or I guess unorthodox. Jazz music is my favorite type of music. Even when I was playing football, like my rule was, you know, I never understood, like when I was playing football, a bunch of my teammates would go home and just watch football all day. And I would be like, I love football, but it's like, dude, like I don't, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be around this all. Like, I need my me time. And so, like, you know, stuff like I said, I love listening to jazz music. It keeps me calm and level-headed. I'm a huge anime fan. I like looking at anime. I've been slacking lately, but that's something I enjoy. I mean, I'm a very scenic person, so like if I find a nice looking trail or somewhere that just has a beautiful view, I love to try to take the chance to go there and capture the moment. I'm all over the place. I can't name one in particular, but yeah, you know, I try to keep my youth and still play video games. Before we got on the phone, I was playing Call of Duty. So I mean, I'm all over the place with it, man. It's really,
you got the whole alphabet, man.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Man, because before we even started the show, you was talking about one of your books. You did a book that you wanted to talk about, and it was a children's book. So Tell us about the book. Give us the name and walk us through that book.
Yeah, well, the book is called "This Is a Book for Kids."
That's a good one.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it clear.
Pretty straightforward. Yeah, and what it really is a children's motivational book, if you can say such a thing. Basically, you know, my thing is I was blessed. I was brought up with both my parents. I was brought up in a very loving and caring family, but I don't think, unfortunately, not everybody could say that. And so with me looking at that, and I see how that takes a toll, especially takes a toll on black kids. Because, you know, as a kid, you're born with innocence. But the thing is, sometimes, you know, it can be, I think people underestimate the power and the ability of love, because it could just be either if there's a lack of love, a kid can be acting out the wrong way, or if there's an abundance of it, the kid can reciprocate it and they'll be acting out, you know, in a more positive light. And growing up, I've got to see both sides. And the other side is not pretty. So my whole objective when I wrote This Is a Book for Kids was basically, these kids might not have somebody positive in their life telling them, look, you can do whatever it is you're really trying to do, as cliche as that sounds, but it really is the truth. I do believe that. And so I think somebody, you know, even if that message reaches, all it takes is one. If it just reaches one kid and changes his perspective, my mission's accomplished. And so that's the whole goal of that. Eventually, I'm going to try to do a book tour called This Is a Tour for People. Yeah. And so eventually we can get set up and we can have some copies available to people, because I haven't been pushing the book like I should, because I've been so busy. But yeah, that's really how that idea all came about. I
mean, law school will kind of make you busy. I mean,
yeah, you know, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I mean, you know, just a little bit. But no, in all seriousness, number one, that's real cool. That's awesome that you have that approach towards life. Because what I'm hearing right now, it's like go-getter. You're just a go-getter. You're out there, and it's like, I'm going to eat. Like, I'm not going to wait for you to put food on my plate. I'm going to hunt for it, and I'm going to get it on my plate. Like, you have that kind of mindset. What is some of the things, like someone listening? Because number one, I think if someone's listening, they're like, at your age, having that mindset, they're probably people around your age like, man, what? He's talking about going tour? Like, what? Because you know you have naysayers and people like, it's too hard, it's not going to work out, I don't have the resources, I don't know how to do it. And that's like the favorite excuse to get stuck. You know, it's like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Let me just stop here. Let me kill my dream right now. You know, pull the plug right now. Don't even wait for it. You know, let's not build it. Let's just pull the plug. Why are you so driven? You know what I'm saying? What makes you want to keep pushing and keep working and making plans for your life?
Well, I think that a lot of that can be attributed to my mindset once again. I think it's just that I attack success. And I know this might sound arrogant to some people. I don't mean to, but this is just me. I'm an extremely confident person. I don't think about the negatives in any situation when I go into it. Now, of course, everything in life has its pros and cons. But when I have my mind made up and I have a goal to accomplish, I don't think about the negatives. My mentality is, this is going to work. Right. If it don't work the first time, I'm going to make it happen the second. If it don't work the second, it's going to happen the third, and so on and so forth. So that's just, I can't tell you why I'm that way. I just think that that's me. I think I have a weird competitive spirit within me also. Like I don't like any field that I put myself in, like I love to conquer it. And I don't say that to try to sound like a tyrant titan or anything, but you know, I don't think anybody wakes up and says I want to be the second best at this. You know, and that's just, you know, that's my mentality.
Imagine Michael Jordan thought like that, man.
Exactly.
You know, there's so many good points that you just said, because if you're not careful, right, you will spend your life either doing two things, one or the other. You're either going to live active or you're going to live passive. You're going to let things pass you by, opportunities. And you know what happens with those kind of people? They love collecting excuses. They got excuse for everything on why they are not going after their dream. No one's saying here, disclaimer, because you got to do that on podcast and radio. No one's is saying that you are guaranteed success. You're not guaranteed anything in life, but you are guaranteed to make a choice.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I just, you know, look, we're all on borrowed time. And so when it comes to that, it's like, I'm just not going to waste mine. It's too much, you know, the lifespan of a person, like you go to sleep, you wake up, you in your 50s, God bless your soul if you can make it that long, or you don't know, it could be gone tomorrow, knock on wood. Yeah. So my whole mentality is like, you know what, I'd much rather end this day exhausted and feeling complete versus me just saying, I slacked off. I have my bad days. I'm human. But if I do have a bad day in terms of productivity, I'm going to get right back on it the next day until we get in the right direction and moving forward. So I just think I don't believe in wasting time, man. That's really it. Because you don't know when it's up.
That one part when you mentioned about slacking off, I figured like the only way David's slacking off is if he missed an episode of Law and Order. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's one thing I have been slacking on is watching my shows. I've just finished Ozark, thank God, not too long ago. But yeah, I ain't been able to catch up on my TV shows like I want to. But I'm trying to make up for it, man. It's all about balance.
And that's a great transition right there to talk about all this COVID-19 stuff. You as an entrepreneur, how are you, because I've been interviewing people on the show, asking them how have they personally been going through these times. How do you, because I'm pretty sure you already had like a bulletproof plan of how you're going to do this, but tell the audience, how are you getting through these times and managing how you're going to adapt?
Well, as far as getting through, it's more so of a realization of understanding you can only control what you can control. Right. And I think me and every other small business owner, we're frustrated right now because, you know, I saw an article that said black-owned barbershops were actually one of the business, if not the business, that's getting hit the most by this. And so it's frustrating. I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and act like it's all happy and dandy because it's not. It's a frustrating thing. But at the same time, I believe that me and my business partner, Addison Randall, we've put our employees in the best possible predicament. We're making sure that they're safe because safety comes first. And we're blessed to have a good working relationship with the landlords who we have to pay rent to. So we worked that situation out. So I honestly think that during this time, even though it's unfortunate we can't be up and operating right now, we're very fortunate. And like I try to look at the glass halfway full all the time. It could always be worse, but I mean we're in a good position, and I just been keeping my peace, you know, making sure everybody's staying safe during this time and doing what I can to try to bring comfort into the people who can't, the employees of ours who can't work.
You know what's funny about the glass being half full? It's like, well, if it's empty, just go look for the water.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's all you got to do. There's always a way to get some. Hey, there's always, my life motto is that there's always a way. There's always a way. That's it. It's like you just said. If it ain't no water in the glass, there's a fountain somewhere.
Right. Because my sister would say, I know it's an old school saying, but she always be like, you know, a closed mouth will never get fed. So until you speak up and actually go after it. Because here's the thing. Let's break it down for the listener, man, because I feel like people are not just going to hear this and get inspired, but people around your age. What are you, like 24?
I wish, man. I'm 28.
Okay. But at the time you finished school at 24, right? Was that?
Right. I was 23, I think. 23 or 24 when I graduated, yeah.
But people around this age, right, 24, 28, they're like, man, if this guy can do it, he can run a business, he can go law school, he can write books, not one, but 4. They're going to be like, man, I need to know some secrets. So Shemaiah asked him some secret sauce questions. So here I go. This is for you, the listener. So, David, let's break it down for the audience, man. What words of wisdom will you give to someone who feel like, even through the crazy stuff of COVID-19, what would you tell them that they can start doing to position themselves, right, to become that entrepreneur or whatever they want to do as far as goals in their life? What would you tell them?
I think right now, the very important thing is you have to take advantage of this situation. You got to learn how to turn the lemons into lemonade. And by that, I basically mean right now there's going to be a bunch of people that are BSing. There's going to be a bunch of people who get their stimulus check who are going to go blow it.
Yeah.
Let me take that back because I don't want to sound insensitive. There are some people who need that to pay for their bills and everything. So that's understandable. But there's going to be some people who are using those expenses unwisely.
Yeah, wasting.
Yeah. My best advice to anybody right now is take advantage of this situation. Take advantage of how everybody else is going to be, down about this situation and probably not reacting the best way.
Yeah.
Take advantage and try to improve during this time. Because, look, when we get back to normal, whenever that is, life is going to go on. And when life does continue, there's going to be a difference. Some people you're going to be able to tell. Some people have used this time to set themselves apart. Some people have used this time just to sit around and BS all day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think right now it's very, very vital that people use this time to try to, it doesn't matter what it is, just try to get better at something that's going to, help you in your field, whether that be reading, whether that be doing research for a Roth IRA, whether that be working on your LLC, whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
I think now is the best time, actually, to take advantage of this situation and turn a negative into a positive.
And some people, if you don't know what LLC is, limited liability company, there you go. Because what you just said right there is key for people to make a pivot. It's like, okay, yeah, here's these circumstances. And like you said earlier in the show, there's some things in life you just cannot control. It's beyond your control. You cannot control certain things in life, but that doesn't give you an excuse to keep making poor choices, right? If you can control your attitude, right? If you can control how you approach life, if you can say, I'm going to get up every day, brush my teeth, make my bed, and do what I got to do to be better. Those are small baby steps that gets you to new level of thinking, right? And I will even go further and say it gets you in new conversations, because there's certain levels of conversations, right? You can have conversations of gossip and petty and the world is going blah, blah, blah. Or you go to someone like David or someone around David that has that mentality of, you know what? I'm a productive citizen. And now you open up to new conversations. There's levels to this. That's not just a song. That's a fact.
100%.
So, man, I'm going to let you touch on that, man.
100%. No, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's just, it's all a process. I don't, what's the old saying? Rome wasn't built in a day. It's very true. Mm-hmm. This is always a process. And I mean, some stuff is human nature. I think social media plays a part in it too. We're so caught up in this facade of just being perfect and appearing perfect, versus the reality of a situation where it's not like that. Like, nobody just woke up the next day and got $100 million. Unless you're the dude, I was watching a video last night, unless you're the dude who created Flappy Bird in one day or something, and then he just banked crazy, which was wild to me. But I mean, that's not common, and that's okay. And I think another thing that we have to stop doing is comparing successes. Mm-hmm. We all have our own story. That's just how it goes. What worked for me might not work for you, and vice versa. I might have went this route. That doesn't mean, I'm going this route. Yeah. But I think there's lessons that you can learn from everybody, whether that be positive and negative. So I mean, I think the important thing is when you're going through this, Nipsey Hussle said it best. You're probably going to face every emotion when you're trying to hit your goals in life. Every emotion, anger, happiness, depression at times. You know, sometimes you're up, next minute you're down. You know, but if you keep on pushing, you're going to be okay. I truly do believe that. As long as you treat people right and you work hard, I think you're going to be okay. Man,
David, the real deal. He just mentioned Nipsey Hussle, man. First thing that came in my mind was dedication, hard work. Man, I'm not going to say nothing about that song, but, you know, real talk, just touch on Nipsey Hussle because I can't let that slide. He represent that mindset of just, you know what, I'm going for it.
100%.
And that's what's important, man.
Yeah, Nipsey definitely, and I'm not just saying this, was one of my, ever since I first heard Crenshaw, was one of my favorite rappers. And it was just, you know, it's hustle music. You know, it's just, it's that, like you just said, it's that mindset music. It's like that, nah, we gonna get this. And, you know, I respect the person who can come from the mud and just make it into an empire. That's what Nipsey did. Now, he wasn't the richest person, all that, but I mean, I don't think that's what success is measured by. Success is more measured by impact. And I think, unfortunately, it took his passing for people to really realize his impact and how big it was. I mean, we talking about a dude that was a rolling 60 Crip, but like worldwide, like
so many people jumped on board. It was like, man, I never heard his music until, you know, they saw the news. So like that's that major impact. And then when they saw the backstory of his life and what he was trying to do, and you know, the people around him, what they were trying to do in the community, that speaks volume. And that's that focus, like what you're doing right now. Everybody has the opportunity to make an impact in the community. So before we leave, touch on that a little bit. How can people literally put themselves in positions where they can actually impact their own community where they live?
Do your part. And when I say do your part, I mainly mean that, look, not everybody's going to have to be able to be the leader of the movement. But if you know that there's something that you could do that can help, whether that be dropping off groceries to the elderly or just, you know, setting up shop on Thanksgiving, handing out turkeys, whatever it is, wherever you can help, you should. And I believe we should, because you have it, and you know what? Not everybody has it like that. I'm not saying you're anybody's responsibility, but kindness, I do believe that kindness is a human's responsibility to another. And so I think that we should everybody just do their part, love one another, because like I said, I think people underestimate how far and how important that love is. It can either go one way or the other. So that's just, when it comes to that, man, I think just do your part, and I believe in unifying more than I do in dividing. I think we can get a whole lot more accomplished together than we can separately. And so that's really, I really think that's the main, if we take those simple, basic concepts, I think going forward, we're going to be okay.
It's hard to catch the ball if you don't grip.
Oh, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
So it's like, you know, using that analogy, it's like, you got to hold on to your dream. You know, you can't allow yourself to be like, you know what, it ain't for me. Like we said in an earlier show where you was talking about how people can, you know, compare themselves to other people's success compared to their success. Well, if you're on chapter 3, you're not going to have chapter 300 results, period.
At all.
You got to put skin in the game. I saw something flow on social media because, like you said, there's a lot of positive things that people are trying to put out in the world. I saw a post on social media, it's like a poster with words. And it was talking about how if you put yourself in the position to, like, do the small things, they add up to the bigger picture. You know,
small things are really the big things, because if you do the small things enough,
boom,
it puts into the big thing, like you just said. So yes, you are 100% correct with that.
Man, once again, we're talking to David Glasco, and man, before we let you go, tell people how they can find you online, so that way they can get your books and they can just follow what you're doing with your business and all that good stuff.
Yeah, my main outlets, you guys can find me on Instagram. My Instagram name, you can type in David Glasco with one S, it'll pop up. Or my name is OG Magnifico, MAGNIFICO. That's an old football so don't judge me. Twitter, Glasco,
Yeah.
I is for Glasco the second. But yeah, if anybody wants to contact me, that's a way. If you want to buy a book, you can simply just go on Google and type in David Glasgow book, and all 4 of them will pop up. Or you can contact me, whichever way is easier for y'all. I'm all about convenience for the people, so whichever way y'all want.
That's good stuff, because if people want to get in touch, you're approachable, man. That's a whole nother show, man. I'm not even going to go down that road, because that could be a whole nother 30-minute show right there. But for you being in this whole, like I said, environment with COVID-19 and adjusting to the things that are going on in the world, but not allowing it to dim your light, right? You're allowing it to use it as a source of inspiration to get through it, and managing how you can just position yourself to win once we get on the other side. I say all that to say, what would you say before we leave officially to people out there who feel like, I heard all this stuff, y'all made it sound so easy and so fun, but when the rubber meets the road, when real life happens, you don't know my situation. What do you tell that person who feel like they might be stuck, like they trying to find hope at the other end of the tunnel, but they just see the certain current circumstance? I
will say this, and this might sound harsh to some people, but I think it's important. I think that as a human being, if I was to go in the middle of the street on a random day in Times Square and I asked every person who I bumped into what's been the most tragic thing that's happened to you in your life, I think that every one of them is going to have some pretty traumatic experiences that they're going to tell me. And so I say that because I feel like we all have some adversity. We all have some tragedies. We all have some things that we're not proud of, whether it be previous events that have happened or just things that have happened within our family. We've all been through something, is my point. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not our fault at all, but it is your responsibility. You owe that to yourself. It's your responsibility to learn how to cope with what has happened and to move forward. And I'm not trying to sound unsympathetic at all, because I understand we all take things in a different way. But, it's your responsibility to be happy. And happiness isn't something that's going to just fall out of the sky. Happiness is earned, just like everything else in life. So if there's something that is making a person unhappy, I think it's their responsibility to find a way to cope with that. And it's their responsibility to find a way to move on to get what it is that they truly want.
Man, that's it. Like I say a lot of times, I ain't touching it, man. You already did it. I ain't touching that. That's perfect what you just said, because I think a lot of people need to hear that reminder. Because I feel like I can't speak for everybody. Another disclaimer for radio and podcast. But I think most people, they want to have a successful life. I can't really imagine a person yet, because like I said, disclaimer, I can say 100%, but I can't imagine that everybody wants to have a doom and gloom and have a super depressed life. I feel like people, they just need a reminder of who they are. You are victorious. You are going to be successful, because you may not see it because you're under construction, right?
Right.
But as long as you're working it and you get through it, then on the other side, you get to look back and say, you know what? I didn't give up. That's is success right there. When you can look back and say, I never gave up.
That's a feeling that's second to none right there.
So, man, like I said, I can talk for like 30 more minutes, but, we just going to have you come back, because you got some really good life wisdom and experience that I think a lot of people should try to pressure David with a little friend pressure and say start a podcast, but I'll let him make that decision. But I really think, honestly, like for real, like you got some very unique perspective, and I think a lot of people need to hear what they heard today.
Love, man. I appreciate that. I really, really do. I really do. All
right, real quick, just in case people in the back didn't hear you, how can they find you on social media?
Yeah, you guys can reach me on Twitter at Glasco, GLASCOII, or you can find me on Instagram, OG Magnifico, MAGNIFICO.
Well, there you have it. Oh,
I'm
say
a
that
nice
one
guy,
time.
people. I'm not stuck up. So we're adding back and we're interacting with each other. It's all good.
Oh, this episode's living proof because you would have canceled the show on me. But anyway, on that being said, man, me being a comedian in my next life, I just wanted to say thank you, David Glasco, for being on I Am Refocused Radio. And man, we're gonna have you back, man.
Oh man, I love it. You just let me know when, and I'm here, man. This was great. The pleasure is mine. I appreciate it.
Y'all have all the details, man. Make sure you follow him and support what he's doing with his business and with his books and the soon-to-come book tour sometime in the future. We don't know when, but, we all have to ride out the storm right now. But, man, like we say on every single show, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.
Hi, San Antonio. Need a barber? Visit our good friend Rico Rodriguez, the owner of Rockafellas Barbershop in San Antonio, Texas, 1733 Babcock Road, and book your appointment today by calling 210-782-5188.